Hey everybody, my name's John Wires here. I'm here with Eric Bowie, and we are on the MAREI podcast, episode number 26, actually. So we are getting up there in episodes. And today, Kim Tucker had a recommendation for Eric's, and that's always good. And he is involved in a lot of things, and I think he'll offer a lot of different perspectives and value today for you guys. And his big stick is that you got to have multiple streams of income. And we all know we have to have multiple streams of income, especially nowadays when there's so much economic diversity. Before you know it, you know, one stream of income is going to go down, so another one's going to have to make up for it. And if you guys listen to Eric here and check out his website, you'll see that he has a lot of things going on. I mean, just some of the things. He's a life coach. He's a financial mentor, right? From day to day, he does government contract work. He can tell us a little bit more of that. He's involved in real estate investing. He's on the planning commissioning board for Raymore there. And he's a real estate investor himself. He's done a few authoring of some books financially, and then he does one-on-one coaching for businesses and people alike. So I know I mentioned a lot of things. You could definitely touch on what you want to concentrate on, because like I mentioned to him, it's not a 5-hour video cast here. We want to be respectful of his time. So appreciate you joining, and go ahead and introduce people to yourself. Go ahead and tell them about background and what you do, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Primarily what I do is I write a blog on my website, smartmoneybro.com. And I try to help people with their finances in various ways. One of the things I do, you mentioned it, is some one-on-one coaching with folks just to kind of help them with their personal finances, maybe even discovering some of their things they love and how to monetize those things. It could be everything from budgeting to debt payoff, whatever it may be. I try to help folks one-on-one. But I've done a lot of things. I've actually owned property here in the Kansas City area since 2000 for about 20 years. So I've been a real estate guy and a landlord here in the area. Born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. And I've been on the Kansas City, Missouri side for probably 25 years. But for the last 20 years, I've owned some real estate right here in Kansas City. Single family homes, more of the buy and hold type. I flipped a couple of homes, but for the most part, it's been buy and hold. And real estate is a piece of my portfolio of what I do. As you said, in my day job, I actually manage contracts for the federal government, and I help people, help businesses get contracts with the federal government. Excuse me, with the federal government. So that's a little bit about what I do. Long history of things I do, but I've written a few books, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But that's a little bit about my background.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, I mean, we could definitely spend hours on these topics, but you know, we'll hit higher level on them. As far as right now, you know, let's talk about your blog and your financial blog, and I think with a lot of finances comes getting your life in order, because you know it's not like you could have such an unstable life and have solid finances. So what are general topics you talk about in your blog, and do you see major issues coming up right now with just people nowadays and their finances that you could offer advice on?
Absolutely. Nowadays, you got a lot of people that are kind of wondering, should I hold on to money? Should I invest money? Should I save money? Should I pay off debt? Or should I focus my money on putting it to the side for an emergency? So there's a lot of things we can talk about in terms of what's the best route to go. But a lot of that just depends on where you are financially. What are some of your risk levels? Where are you at in terms of your debt, in terms of your investments? Do you have a stash of cash put to the side or not? So those are some of the issues that are real hot that are coming up right now. I see in a lot of people. On my blog, a lot of what I write about in the blogs is my personal experience with money. Honestly, I've made mistakes with money, and over the years, those mistakes hopefully have turned into talking points to help people out and kind of show people the right ways to go in terms of investments, and how to handle their money. You know, the one thing I do on the website is I offer the one-on-one coaching, and I try to take people through 4 steps. The first step is figuring out how they're thinking about money, how they're thinking about investments and real estate. Because a lot of times what your behavior with money is going to be based on how you think about it. So the first thing we do is try to talk about where you are in terms of what you think. The second thing we talk about is I take a person and say, well, what do you currently make and what do you currently do to make money? And are you maximizing your opportunities with what you currently make? And the third thing we talk about is money management. Are you managing your money properly? Do you have a proper budget? Do you know how to budget? How about your discipline with money in terms of management? Then the fourth thing we do is say, hey, what do you do in terms of what do you love to do? What are your skill sets? Is it possible you could increase your income based on potentially doing some other things with your money that may make you some outside income as well? So I kind of take folks through those 4 steps when I do one-on-one coaching with folks. And we talk about that on the website. But in terms of the blog, for the most part, it's talking about my experiences with money and what I can do to help folks out in terms of going forward with their money. So we have a good time with it. There's quite a few blog posts on there, and it's again at www.smartmoneybro.com.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm looking through here now, and you definitely got some pretty cool articles here that definitely could benefit everyone. I mean, there's stuff like 6 steps to writing, achieving your goals. That's obviously one that's always important. 7 ways to grow your net worth. Going to college. Although now with COVID, it's kind of tough. And there's some life stuff here about 30 things money can't buy. It says my 22 jobs in 31 years. That's
Yeah.
wow. So
Yeah, I've done a lot of jobs. As I said, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. And I just had a lot of jobs over the years. Everything from I was a floor sweeper where I ran the floor machine at Walmart overnight. I used to clean up the back of trailers at U-Haul. I've actually unloaded boxcars at UPS for 6 months. I was a Jiffy Lube guy for 2 years. I cut my teeth as a young waiter for about 3 years at Perkins Restaurant. So I've done so many things, and that's those are the type of things I talk about on the blog. You know, my personal experiences and how those can translate into helping other folks in terms of where they're going with money and with life.
Yeah, those. I think it's definitely really important. I mean, that's definitely more jobs than I've had, and because you whether you're looking for a challenge, whether you're looking for something you like, I think, for example, the more experiences someone has makes a good mentor. You could even say if someone's failed, you could even go extremes because a lot of millionaires, billionaires have went bankrupt. They know,
right.
What not to do. You obviously don't want to listen to someone that's never had hardship, right? That's never failed.
That's right.
That's never had all the experiences. So it's good to see, that you've went through so many experiences and you can kind of give an idea of maybe the industries, whether you like them or not. And also gives you obviously good experience for future jobs. So that's
Yep.
something cool. And one too, you have multiple pages, but I think people should check out 8 Millionaire Habits that changed my financial life. And you could give a certain perspective there. Who would you say right now is are the type of people that call you? Is it that work with you? Is it younger people? It could be a mix. It could be a business owner. Like, where are their stages are there in their life right now? And maybe is there a common theme of the problems they're having?
Yeah, well, I think one of the common themes is people that are kind of stuck. whether that may be, and I've had consultations with young people that are looking to start a business, as well as more established people that have a business already and want to maybe take their business to the other level. So they might call me and say, well, what can I do to get involved with government contracting? What does it take to get government contracts? So I do get a lot of business owners that want to kind of grow their business into another sector, kind of getting out of the the industry or out of the public sector and into the more the government contract work. And so I get a lot of calls from that. But again, a lot of younger individuals that want to just kind of get help, kind of gleam on some of the experiences that you talked about that I have. Hey, how did you go from having no net worth when you were in your late 20s to being where you are now? Can you tell me some of the things you did, or how do you do a budget? I mean, it's really kind of wide open, but typically it's a younger person or a business owner that I do run into that need help in any one of those particular areas.
Yeah, and definitely right now, people need help. That's for sure. Hopefully,
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to get better here. Just moving on here to some of the books that you wrote here helping people. There's a landlording tips book, and then there's also a book about vehicles. Do you do you like concentrating on one more than the other, or how? Tell us a little bit about both of those, because like I said, you're a man of not only one stream of income, so it's
Right.
multiple things here. People have to understand.
Yep, that's true. So the first book I wrote was the strategies in terms of landlording strategies, 51 strategies. And so what I did was I said, I've been a landlord in Kansas City for, at that point, about 18 years. And I had up to 6 houses or so for many years. And I said, I know a lot of information about landlording, just some tips and tricks. Let me put this together so I can help somebody. So that's one of the things I did. I wrote that book and said, you know what, this is going to be for the landlord that may be new, that may be starting out, that maybe don't have so much in their file cabinet in terms of tips and tricks and things they can pull out of the hat and so forth. So I just wrote that book to help other landlords, to help the new landlord. And you can find it on Amazon. It's under my name, Eric Bowie, Smart Money Bro, 51 Landlord Tips and Tricks. But anyway, so then the other book came along, because the book about cars that I wrote, because my niece, her and her husband were looking for a vehicle about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. And I said, okay, well, here's some things you want to look for. Here, let's Google it. And I Googled it, and there was nothing out there teaching them how to buy cars. And so over the years, I've bought many, many cars, and I've bought a lot of them cash. And I still buy cars cash to this day. I don't have car payments. Haven't had a car payment in probably a little over 10 or 12 years, 10 or 11 years or so. But I decided to write that book, and I wrote that book probably in about a week. It was very quick because I was helping her find a vehicle, her and her husband find a vehicle. And I said, let me write, and in that book, you'll find more than 60 tips on what to look for when you're actually going to buy a used car, which, 9 out of 10 of us are buying used cars, but nobody really teaches us what to look for under the hood. How are you going to figure out if the car's been painted and they didn't tell you it was painted? Or how are you going to look at the tires? What are you going to? So there's a lot of things in that book that is going to help anyone that wants to buy a car cash. And it's available on Amazon as well. That's kind of how that book came about. There was nothing out there, so I said, let me write about
it. It's I feel like nowadays, when it seems like everybody knows everything about everything because of the internet, cars are still one of those things that are a bit foreign. I guess you could almost say that for real estate too, but yeah, for cars, you're always looking on YouTube on how to fix them or how to diagnose things, but I don't know. It's odd. It's kind of still a foreign thing but maybe that's because we're used to real estate. So that's always good that, you're helping people out there with that stuff.
But you'd be surprised. There's so many people that drive a car every day, don't know anything about a car. But they drive it every day, don't know anything about it. Same, the concept is similar, like you said, with real estate. One of the big things I talk about in real estate is doing your due diligence when it comes to a property. If you're going to buy a property, flip a property, wholesale a property, you got to know what you're looking for when you walk in the door, or even from the outside. How's the roof slanted? How's the grading outside the home? Are the downspouts from the gutters properly leading water away from the property? And if not, be sure to check that basement because there's likely some foundation issues. How long has the house been empty? But all these things in terms of looking at HVAC, looking at walls, looking at cracks in walls, looking at floors. Those are we sit in our homes every day and we don't know anything about how the home is constructed, how the heat gets dissipated throughout the house. What's underneath the carpet and the floorboard. I mean, we don't have a clue. So the concept about cars is similar to homes and houses and so forth. And I'm just that curious enough person to kind of dig in behind the scenes, and I was with real estate. One of the important things I did, I'm going to throw this out there for you listeners. When I first got into real estate, I didn't know anything about homes or houses. I decided that to learn about them, I would shadow a guy. So I shadowed a guy who was a handyman. I shadowed him for about 2 or 3 months just to learn as much as I could about purchasing homes, or how to put up drywall, how to plumb a house, or how to use a fulcrum to put up a ceiling. So I learned all those things in 2 or 3 months because I said, if I'm going to be invested in property, I gotta know what to look for. How am I gonna do my due diligence if I can't determine what I'm looking at? So you can't always rely on inspectors and other people. When it comes to real estate, you've got to be able to know what you're doing. That's one of the tips I give to folks. Know your stuff. If you've got to shadow somebody for a month or two or whatever it takes to learn a few things, go learn it. Don't be afraid to get out there and work for free in terms of money. But sometimes money is not what you're getting. Sometimes you're getting knowledge, and the education. That's just as important when it comes to real estate.
I always tell people, I know you can't do everything all the time, and obviously sometimes it's not worth it, but it is good to get at least a one-time experience of how to do something or figure out how it works, because contractors alone can be tough to deal with. And just like with a mechanic, if you don't somewhat know what things should cost or how to do it, you could be taken advantage of. And then just a general life skill anyway. It's good to know how to fix things or figure out the right process on how to get it fixed, because it equals freedom. You could do it yourself, or you're going to hire it out. Either way, like you said, it's knowledge. It's good knowledge to have. It's kind of like swimming or driving, cooking. These are good things to know and even pass down to your children. And for a few dollars, how many times have we met somebody where we just bought them a coffee or did a free apprenticeship and all like that, or buy a book, and obviously the value that was added was infinite times more. So
that's right.
Give it a chance for sure.
Yeah, one of the things I always tell people is when you're dealing with real estate and you have rental houses, you always want to have a good handyman, handy person. You always want to have someone in terms of repairs and so forth, because maybe there's something that you might miss that you can't see let's say if you're inspecting a property or something. But also, you gotta watch your expenses. That's a big piece of landlording, is watching your expenses. So that's always huge. Have a good person. I always have a backup. I have a handy guy, and then I have a backup. I have a plumber, then I have a backup. And one of the reasons I always tell people to always have a backup is because if you have a good electrician, that electrician is going to be busy, right? So that electrician, he's going to have a bunch of jobs that he's working on because he's good, right? He's in demand. So you want to have a backup electrician and a backup handyman. And so that's another one of those tips, for your folks that are doing, they're just being a landlord, whether you own multifamily, duplexes, or even single families. have some good handy persons and have some backups. But also, again, kind of know what you're looking at. Do your research, do your studying. If you can twiddle along on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff, then you can spend 5 minutes looking up, what's the right thing to look at when you're rewiring a light or something. So you get my point, though. You just want to make sure you know what you're doing and have people around you that know what they're doing.
That is a big request. It is so much easier to go down the rabbit hole and look at cat videos or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather pay someone $100 an hour to come do the hard stuff, and I'll just look on memes all day on the internet. It is definitely dangerous stuff.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Speaking of backup stuff, we'll end on this topic. Not only do you want to have backups for real estate or contractors, everything else in life, your theme is backup streams of income. So
yep.
I always tell people out there, real estate is getting pretty tough right now. It's not like a decade ago where there's deals everywhere. Like you could buy anything and shoot 10 years later. It was hard to not make money, right? If you bought it during the crash. Now, if you're buying stuff, you're taking a pretty big risk. Real estate in general is just blown up just from all the hype, right? Everyone has to own real estate, and we know why. We own it for that reason too. But I encourage people, the returns, are going to change, and they change pretty drastically and frequently sometimes, depending on how many people get into the same game. So, I encourage other people to look at stocks. There's nothing wrong with keeping it with W-2. You could do online sales, eBay stuff, brick and mortar. Touch upon that before we close out here with some of your information. Like, what do you suggest aside from real estate maybe people should be looking at? And it could be retirement funds. Like, you obviously have a lot of stuff going on. So if I take that chair, that leg from that chair out from you, you still got 5 more to stand on.
Yep. So here's one of the things I did was at a very early age, I started putting in towards my retirement fund. I work for the federal government, so it's a thrift savings plan. But from a very early age, I started regularly putting in towards that because I knew 15, 20, 30 years down the road. So I kind of made compound interest become my best friend. So I've used compound interest over the years. And so that's obviously a great place to start. If you're talking about stocks, or I don't like individual stocks so much. I'm more of an index or index fund or mutual fund person, sure. But because I don't want to watch them every day, and I like
still in the market.
Yep, still in the market. So stock market is one of them, absolutely. The other thing I do, and I can touch upon it, but one of the things I touch upon on my website is the fact that I had an eBay business. I started an eBay business to help pay my daughter's way through college. And, over the course of 6 years or so, I sold over $100,000 in eBay and kept my expenses really low and was able to pay her way through college. And now she helped out, of course, and worked jobs, but the eBay helped us out. So that was one thing I did. But the whole point is to have, like you said, different legs to stand on. So real estate for me is a piece of the portfolio. It's not the main portfolio, because for me, I'm the type of person that I don't like too much risk, right? I like being able to have something steady and so forth. So that's okay. Everybody's different. The whole point of personal finance is that it's personal. What my risk level is not someone else's risk level. But I also do voiceover work on the side. So if you go to YouTube and you go to NBA Wow TV, and that's NBA for basketball, NBA Wow WOW TV, you'll hear my voice there. And so I do some freelance voice work on the side. And any of those things I do on the side, if one leg was pulled out from underneath me, guess what? I know how to scale up one of those. I can scale up my eBay. I still do eBay, but I do it on a smaller scale. But if something happened, I know how to go out and source and go out and get 150, 200 items in the next couple couple of days and be in that game. Same thing with voiceover, same thing with real estate. So it's about spreading. Again, I told you I didn't like a lot of risk. So the way I do that is I spread it out, and I have a lot of things going on that can sustain me if I have to. So that's kind of where I'm at. I like to help folks out, and I do offer some one-on-one services on my website, smartmoneybro.com. And hey, it's all about making people be the best person they can be, and not competing with each other, but mainly competing with yourself.
Right. No, that's and it's all about them helping you out, you helping them out, and coming back to the multiple streams of income there too. Again, it makes you resistant to a lot of these crashes, and it gives you a lot of flexibility, because you might not like to do marketing, leasing, deal with tenants all the time, but you can handle 20% of your time doing that, and obviously you're getting the tax benefits there, but it might be easier for you and your lifestyle and still spend the time with family to do, W-2. Obviously it's government work, so that's going to be pretty solid, and you should get pretty good benefits. But then you got all this side stuff too. So I think that's the key to this whole situation. You are very experienced and professional at finding, different methods of income, and encourage people to explore those things. Just don't only look at real estate. There's a lot of things that you could look at, and you may have to when you get crowded out, because a lot of people are going to find out they throw all their eggs in one basket, and before you know it, you're making as much as you would maybe in the stock market, except you're spending your whole life doing all this work, and for what, like you could give your money to the stock and you make 2 times as much, and you do zero work. So you have good advice.
I appreciate it.
Go ahead and give people your contact info. Obviously your website again, number, email. I don't know if you have a Facebook site people go to.
Yeah, we got a Facebook page called Smart Money Bro. Just check it out. There's a group on there as well. And then I'm on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is @SmartMoneyBro1, the number 1. So @SmartMoneyBro1 on Twitter. And then, of course, my website is smartmoneybro.com that we mentioned a few times. So that's basically where you can catch me. You can reach me on any of those platforms. I try to keep my platforms kind of limited a little bit. Don't need to spread myself so thin on all of them, but that's where I'm at, and you can catch me and reach out to me. I'll be glad to help anybody that contacts me.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. No, and appreciate you scheduling a week out. This is a good topic that I think it needs definitely some concentration on multiple streams of income. Don't only pay attention to one thing. And that's why I always tell people, they always get super excited about just real estate, but look at other stuff,
Absolutely. Yeah. Spread it out. Yeah, absolutely. So my thing was, the beauty is when you go through the ebbs, and when you've been in a market like real estate for a long time, you see a lot of ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the 2008, 2009. I went through the 2001, 2002 when everything was great and things were bumping and everything was being bought up and all this good stuff. And I've seen the 7% and 8% interest rates, and we've been in the 2% and 3% interest rates for a long time now. But having all those different experiences made me realize that no, you don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket. If something happens in terms of real estate, you're going to be out in the cold. And it does happen in terms of real estate sometimes. Just be aware of it. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're kind of in certain markets. I think we're hitting a bubble now. In certain markets here in Kansas City, things are blowing up. So just be careful about that, and be willing to pivot, make some changes if you have to, and then be willing to also, as you said, have some other irons in the fire that you can go to. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Eric. We'll let you get back to your day. Obviously, you got things going on. Appreciate it, and we will get this up. Everybody, again, by the way, obviously go to MAREI.org for membership. and sign up if you want to become a partner. Check out information on there too. And we are going to sign out. Appreciate it, Eric.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy.
All right. Bye.